What's up, guys? So I actually came out to this little spot last night after work. I was going to film a video about this topic. And I was going to do it at night so it could be super creepy and we could see, if any drones maybe would fly by in the background. But I'm going to be honest, I came over here and there was a couple of creepy vans parked right where I'm at. And, they had their doors open and everything. All their lights were off. Wasn't going to mess with that. So I packed it up and I dipped out. So we're back during the daylight when I'm not going to get, beat up or anything like that trying to film a video because it ain't that serious. But I'm here to talk a little bit about this drone situation. I've seen a couple really cool theories about it. I wanted to report on it and make a video about it right away, but I wanted to wait a little bit because people were coming up with their theories and stuff, and I was kind of curious to see if the government would talk about them at all, and apparently they don't want to. So I guess all we have to go off of are all these conspiracy theories. But that's what I want to talk about because I think there's a couple of really interesting ones, and I want to talk about them. I want to let everybody know what I've been seeing online about this stuff because it's really, really freaking cool. I'm not actually really all that scared about the drones, and maybe I should be. What I'm more curious about, I'll say, is these plasmoids, the glowing orbs that they are being associated with. These drones are being seen following and chasing after these literal glowing orbs in the sky, these kind of formless, non-piloted orbs of orange and white light. And they're not just being seen down at the ground level where all these people are recording. I've seen tons of videos on TikTok. I think TikTok is where I'm seeing most of this stuff. I haven't seen zilch on Instagram. I haven't really seen anything at all on YouTube, so I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's some sort of trend on TikTok. Maybe that's it, that people are like, oh, they posted about it, I'm going to post about what I saw too. Because not all of the videos I've seen are brand new, but within the last couple of months, I'll say. From pretty much late October until today. It's currently December 20th as of filming this video. So, right in the middle of what's all going on. One of the theories that I've seen is that these drones are the U.S. government's drones, which is why they don't give a shit that they're out here, because they know about it, right? That's why they're trying to tell everybody, oh, don't worry about it, they're not really posing any kind of a threat, we're not too concerned about it, there's no threat to life, whatever, yada yada, right? That means literally one of two things. It's either A, it is the United States government, it has to be, right? It has to be these two options. It's either the U.S. government's drones, or it is another government's drones, but they're aware of the situation and monitoring it, but don't want to scare everybody. Let's just throw this out there that it's another country's drones, whatever country it may be. Maybe they're here watching us or watching these orbs or whatever. They're watching something, right? They're surveillance drones. They're surveying for one reason or another. And the government knows about it. The U.S. government knows about it, and they're keeping an eye on it. And either there really is no threat, which maybe is true, I don't know. But if it's another country coming here to survey us, it would seem like a threat. I'm not an expert on anything. I just talk to a camera. But it seems like that would be a reason for some concern. But they can't let us know that. That would cause panic. I would rather know that they're aliens than another country flying drones over my head. You know what I mean? I would rather that, personally. And I've seen a lot of that same sentiment online, too. Is I would rather aliens at this point. So that's one of the theories that I saw, is that the government is flying these drones, or they know of what government is and why, and they're keeping an eye on the situation, either to not escalate it or to keep us out of the loop so we don't freak out about it. It has to be one of those two options. Because the third option would be literally aliens, and I don't think aliens would be flying drones with FAA-approved lights all over them. I just don't think that's true. They would have no reason to blend in with our aircraft. They wouldn't care. If they were making themselves visible, like these drones clearly are, they would not care if they blended in or not. I'm gonna just be honest. So I really do not think that they are aliens. I don't think the orbs are aliens either. I think that'd be fun. I personally would, but I really don't think that this is anything extraterrestrial. At least extraterrestrial life forms. One of the other theories that I did see, and this is the one that I think is the coolest, and I think it's one of the more plausible ones. That's the one I want to talk about. So the first theory is that it's the government and we're being surveyed, but that doesn't really explain the orbs. So the theory that I saw that combines the orbs with the drones is that, and I'll start all the way at the beginning. And I wanted to make a video about this anyway, so it's kind of cool that it's coming up. And we'll do a separate video on this topic so I can just dive into that. I can have my computer monitor up with all of my facts because I don't know anything about this subject. But the sun, our sun right out there, the one that's blasting me in the eyes right now, is a plasmoid. That is what people are reportedly seeing flying over their cities, these glowing orbs of white and orange light. They're these plasmoids that people are seeing. That's what they're being called. If that's what they are, I don't know. It's just what they're being called. The sun is a plasmoid. It's a massive plasmoid on an incredible scale. The sun pretty regularly has bursts of radiation and energy that come off of it called a CME, or a coronal mass ejection, from time to time. And they burst into space occasionally towards Earth. Our atmosphere is perfectly designed to absorb that radiation and keep it from killing us and everything else on Earth. I mean, obviously the atmosphere is the reason we can even live here in the first place. But it's also perfectly designed to absorb that radiation. Occasionally, there is a burst big enough that breaks through that barrier that the Earth has. Again, I'm not a scientist. I don't know all the terms to this stuff, but I do know that this is a actual real thing. And we know about it. They're not a secret. They're not new. But there has been a lot of new activity, an uptick in these CME events in the last several weeks. Just a few days ago, we had a massive CME, one of the fastest ever documented, that blew off the sun. So there's a lot of activity happening on the sun. Where I'm getting at, though, is that when the sun has these CME events, it can actually include little mini plasmoids along with the burst of radiation. And there's a theory that these little plasmoids that these drones are following are plasmoids directly from the sun. And they've ended up down here on Earth from all of these coronal events that have been happening. I think that's a really cool theory because, again, it's solidified in fact. It's something that we know for sure happens. And the sun is a plasmoid. It would make sense that these mini plasmoids would come from the sun, if anywhere, right? It ties in with these drones because they've been actively seen following these plasmoids, or where one is seen, the other is seen, kind of thing. There was a couple of videos of this guy that tried flying his drone up to one of these flying orbs, and his drone just died midair and came crashing to the ground. These coronal mass ejections, when they're strong enough to get through the Earth's atmosphere, are actually a threat to our power grid. It creates geomagnetic storms. So airplanes, they can't direct themselves properly. Compasses can be thrown off. Power grids can blow out entirely. One of these events is the Carrington event. This was in 1856, if I remember the exact year. 1850s, for sure. Luckily, this was just when the world was developing telegraph technology, and it threw all of those systems out. So if another Carrington level event happened now, you wouldn't be able to get gasoline. You wouldn't be able to turn on anything in your house. The entire power grids would go out. Your phone wouldn't work. It would literally destabilize the entire world if another Carrington level event happened. So we know that for sure occurs. This theory that I saw is that these plasmoids, which are coming down from the sun, are throwing out the drones, throwing them out of the sky because the radiation is too much. It's destabilizing them, and they're coming crashing out of the sky because they tried to get too close. But that these drones are trying to figure out what these plasmoids are. I was curious about, why is this all happening in New Jersey? So I up on me old computer and I Googled what military/scientific laboratories are in New Jersey, and I happened to find that the Department of Energy has a lab in Princeton, New Jersey, called the Princeton Plasma Physics Laboratory, PPPL. PP. You pull up their website, it's literally the picture of our sun, talking about how they're working on incredible feats of renewable energy, fusion, plasma. It just seems a little weird, that happens to be New Jersey, where the majority of this energy is happening. These drones have been seen in New York. New York has a laboratory as well. They've been seen in Virginia. Virginia has another one of these labs. So it kind of seems weird. It just seems like a big coincidence that these orbs that we don't know the cause of are floating all over the East Coast, where we happen to have these labs. There's a train. I was wondering what that sound was. You guys probably already saw that. It just seems like a huge coincidence that on the East Coast, where all these Department of Energy laboratories are that work on fusion nuclear energy, plasma energy, it's literally in the name, and now we have these drones following these orbs above the East Coast. We have all this activity with the sun. It all just seems like it's really weird. And the nonchalantness of our Department of Defense, the FBI, regarding these drones is because they know why they're up there. They know who's in charge. They know what they're doing. They know. It's not a mystery. They would quite literally have to know. They would be flipping everything inside out to figure out what was going on if they didn't know. I mean, look how quickly they found Luigi Mangione. Not to bring that into it, but the FBI found him in 5 days. And you're telling me this has been going on since late October, early November, and they're just like, we don't know. We don't know what's going on. Yes, you do. There's no way you don't. So, I don't know. I think this is all really cool. I'm not worried about it, really, but I do think it's really interesting. I don't think it's extraterrestrial life. I don't think it's alien invasions. I really don't. I don't think it has anything to do with aliens at all. But it's definitely interesting. It's definitely a little suspicious. So I don't know. Those are just my findings and the other theories that I found, TikTok and a little bit of YouTube. Putting all that together, that's kind of my own theory. Wanted to give that to you guys. It adds a little bit to it. If you want to go even further, there's been videos of entire strip malls, parking lots, whatever, of all these flashing lights. Like cars have all of their lights flashing in a parking lot, but no alarms. Neighborhoods, all of the houses and street lights are flashing on and off, on and off. I don't know if that could also have something to do with these plasmoids, because we know CME events, you know, these coronal ejections can cause power grid issues, so maybe these little plasmoids flying around could be messing with our electrical systems as well. I don't know. But it is quite literally not possible for these to be consumer drones. The only other explanation would be that this is some, like, backyard inventor who made this super fancy SUV-sized drone. But there's people being arrested right now for flying their drones over airports, trying to figure out what's going on. They're being arrested immediately. So you're telling me the FAA doesn't know what's causing these huge drones, but they can find the guy flying his DJI drone over the airport? No. These guys are being arrested, but these other massive drones are fine? No. The government knows. The government knows. Again, I'm not a genius. I'm not saying anything suspicious is going on. I'm not saying there's like World War III going on with drone warfare or anything like that. But it's all a real big coincidence that these orbs are flying around and all these drones are flying around, and they refuse to acknowledge the drones. I don't know, it's just weird. But I think it's really interesting. Again, I'm just a guy who talks to a camera and watches a lot of content. So this is all the stuff I've compiled and researched and kind of come up with, and I don't know, that's my theory. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think. You guys, I could rant forever. That is my little theory. I don't know shit. I'm just a guy that talks to a camera and watches a lot of videos online. So let me know down in the comments what you think all of this stuff is, and your theories and whatnot, and I will see you in the next video.